Hey guys, welcome to the Sound Booth at Church. Today I'm going to be explaining different aspects of OBS, YouTube, and the new video switcher that we got. At the end, I'm also going to be explaining different expectations we have of y'all as operators. That way all of our streams are consistent and free of distraction as God's Word is preached. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with OBS as the first thing on our list. First I want to explain to all of you that OBS is our streaming software. This is how we stream to YouTube so all the congregation can watch our services. It's not too complicated, so I want to keep it simple for y'all and also just make sure you understand exactly how to operate it for each service. Alright, so if we see here on OBS, we have different things here on the screen. It's kind of hard to see a little bit with the video, but the main thing to worry about here is how we have the recording. Obviously I'm recording right now as well, but normally 2 minutes before the service, as you do with PowerPoint, you'll hit record on GoldWave. You're also going to hit record on OBS as well. We should already be streaming at this point, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. But if you come in a little bit earlier and you find out that it's not streaming and that, you know, we're 5 minutes out, then it's a good thing to either mention to either Mr. Leach or myself, and we'll be able to make sure it's streaming for the service. So we'll have the timer on the program window, and then we'll have our main service on the preview window, and right as Pastor starts moving towards the pulpit, we will go ahead and click transition, and that will make sure our cameras are all set for that. Alright, next thing on the list is YouTube. YouTube is actually very simple for y'all. All you have to do is one thing on OBS, and that's click start streaming. And I'm actually going to come over here to YouTube and see and make sure that it's streaming. So it says excellent connection right there, and then it'll pop up with my window here of the service. And then for OBS, make sure you're hit streaming and recording. Alright, let's move on to the video switcher. This is one you have all been waiting for, and hopefully this one is not as complicated as it may seem, or if with practice we'll be able to get everybody up to where they need to be able to run the switcher correctly. Alright, so here we have the switcher. This is actually a digital representation of it. Everything that this switcher does here, the actual video switcher on the desk will do the exact same thing. This one has some little easier features to work with, but also just to kind of note that there's a few things that we might use for this aside from the actual switcher itself. So that's the video switcher. Let's actually look at the console itself. So we have 4 cameras here. Camera 1, and that is what's actually on the switcher right now. And then camera 2 is the one that's over the pulpit. It's in the center. And then camera 3 is on the left side. That's where we used to have our left camera. It's still on the tripod. And then camera 4 is actually proclaimed. So that's our slides. So I wanted to make sure that y'all understand that 1 through 3 are cameras, and then 4 is actually the slides. And so I'm going to explain a few different ways to do this. The first thing I want to explain is the picture-in-a-picture. Now before, on the other switcher, we had the same we have the same thing where we have the picture-in-a-picture as buttons. We can do that. I'm going to try to lean a little more away from that and use the picture-in-a-picture on the actual software. I'll explain how to do that as well. So it's very simple. We have up here these picture-in-a-picture buttons, and this is off and this is on. So if I select on, it's going to go ahead and put a black square in the corner. And what that is taking the proclaim, which there's nothing on there right now, and it's actually putting that in the corner. And then for you to turn it off, you just hit the off button. So that's picture-in-a-picture. There are just a few other things to note here on the switcher itself. I know these 2 buttons are very much lit up. The one on the left here is a cut button, and what that does is it instantly cuts from one camera to the other with no transition or anything like that. And then you have an auto right here, and this is going to be the auto transition. So I'm going to kind of explain here just a little. So now you've seen the buttons. I want you to see it in action. All right, so here is the actual screen of all the all the cameras and everything. This is your preview. This is what the green button represented on the switcher was, and then also the square here, you can see it as well. I know you're seeing an illusion right here with all the screens and fingers and everything. But then you also have your program bus, and that's what's going to the internet as well. So I'm going to kind of do a little mock setup here for you. I'm going to set up camera 3 in the preview window, and like I said before, you're going to hit just the transition button to transition from that shot to the next shot. And then I'm going to set up camera 2 in my preview bus, and we're going to go ahead and transition from that to camera 2. So it's pretty simple. The same way as you set up a preview and you set up a program, whatever's in the preview, you hit the transition button, it's going to automatically put it in the program window as well. That's how you do all the transitions and everything. That's how you do the video switching. Now we're actually going to move on to the next one here, and that's the video switcher. This is how you do the picture-in-a-picture. You're going to do it with the keyframes here. So you see here we have a run to A and a run to B. The run to A right here, it means that it's going to put the picture-in-a-picture in the bottom corner. It's going to be kind of difficult to see here because I don't have multiple windows to use. But if I click the run to A and my picture-in-a-picture is on, then I'm going to transition back to this, and you're going to see that picture-in-a-picture in there. It's a little complicated, but if I hit the full, it's going to bring that to full screen. And then if I click back to A, it's going to bring it back down to that corner. So we're going to use A. That's going to be our primary for our picture-in-a-picture. And then these other buttons here, I know this is confusing, but we'll get it, I promise. There's these transition buttons here. All you have to do is click one of these. It doesn't matter which, and it's just going to take it out nice and softly. And so to demonstrate that, I'm going to go ahead and click that the one with the square around it, and see how it just kind of disappears into the screen. It looks really cool and very smooth. The alternative to that is, and if I click A here, it'll bring it right back. And we can use this for music or for pastor's messages as well. One thing that is useful is, say I have pastor in camera 2 here. I'm going to go ahead and transition to that on there. So there's pastor with camera 2 with his picture-in-a-picture, and say he's about to say a verse. And that verse is really small. The text is really small. So what I can do is I can click full on the video switcher here, and it's going to make that full screen. That way pastor can do his read the verse, and then we can go right back down to A, and it'll bring it back down to the corner. I found that very useful because it just looks cleaner. When I mean by cleaner, I mean that instead of using that, we just use the on and off on the actual video switcher itself. So we'll see. We'll kind of feel it out and see which one people like better, and if there's one that's easier, we might end up doing that. But I just wanted to explain that to you as well. That is pretty much everything. I hope that helps you with the video switcher. Now let's move on to the console, the controller for the cameras, and I'll go ahead and explain all of those different features for you. Okay, so here are all the different buttons. It's not as complicated as it seems. I will say it is somewhat difficult to use, but hopefully it's not as complicated as it looks. So like I said before, we have cameras 1, 2, 3 on and these are the only ones that we're going to use for the video switcher. And so that's how you select the camera. You just select it, and then whatever you push after that will be affected by that button that you pushed. Same with camera 2 and 3 as well. The 1 through 9 here is where it gets just a little bit complicated. These are called presets. And so if I select camera, actually I'll go ahead and show you this now. If I select camera 1, and then if I select preset 5, it's actually going to bring it right back up to me. That's a preset, so it automatically moves the camera as soon as I push that button. Same thing if I push preset 1 is how I have it set up for this switcher here. Okay, so that's the different presets there. For, let's say we have pulpit, I'm going to go ahead and go to camera 2 here, and I'm going to go on a wide shot. I'm going to go ahead and transition for y'all to see this. So here is camera 2, and that is on the wide shot. What I'll do is I'll select camera 2 like I did before, and then I'm going to select preset 2 and see how it automatically moved. Same with if I press preset 1, it's also going to move there as well. So the way I did that is I push camera 2, and then I select preset 3, 2, and then 1. These 1 through 3 on all 3 of the cameras are primarily going to be the pulpit. That's kind of what we're shooting for. And then, so it's kind of easy to remember is that I know that preset 1 is going to be it's going to be a close-up shot. Preset 2 is going to be a medium shot, and then preset 3 is going to be more of a head-to-toe wider shot to use. Okay, so let's move on to 4, 5, and 6. This bank right here, 4, 5, and 6, is going to be our music. So we might have 4 set up as Peter, 5 set it up as piano, 6 set up as a wide shot of the whole ensemble with the piano. We'll adjust them a little bit, but once we get them perfect, then we'll leave them alone. But I just want to explain that there's different banks here. So number 1 right here is 1 through 3 is going to be the pulpit, 4 through 6 is going to be music, and then 7 through 9, which a lot of y'all won't have to use a ton. This is primarily for those who want to do Sunday school or Wednesday night. 7, 8, and 9, this is how you're going to get if y'all remember how we have the pulpit on the floor for Wednesday night, that's how we're going to do that, is preset 7 is going to be more of a closer shot on the lectern, 8 will be a little wider shot, and then 9 will be either a wider shot than that, or I might use it to catch one of the people who pray on Wednesday night on the side microphones. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that for y'all. So I'm going to come back here to camera 2 so you can see the shot. I'm going to go on preset 3, and then I'm going to transition for y'all so you can see it. So that's preset 3 on camera 2. And so if I select preset 4 on the switcher, see how it moves right over there to where Peter is for Sunday morning. And then I'm still on camera 2. So if I select preset 5, then it's going to take me out to a wide shot of the ensemble, the worship team that sings in the morning. And then if I select preset 6, it's going to take me over the piano, which can either be Peter for Sunday night or Faye when she's doing an offertory or interlude or something. We can go to her as well. So I hope that makes sense. It's going to be the same for all the cameras. Like I said, 1 through 3 will be the pulpit, so it's going to be the same on all the cameras. Camera 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 presets are also going to be on the pulpit. Nothing's going to change there. We're going to try to keep it uniform all the way across, if that helps y'all. One last thing to explain here is we have this toggle, and this is actually how we move the cameras if we need to. So let's say we have somebody a little shorter at the pulpit, and then pastor walks up and it's part of his head's getting cut off. All we have to do there is we just have to take the toggle right here, and we just push it up, and it's going to give pastor that little more. Let's go to preset 2. So that's going to give pastor just a little bit more headroom up there if he's taller than somebody else. So that's how we move it up and then down. And if you move it to the left, it kind of follows with you. Move it to the right. If you rotate it clockwise, you're going to zoom in, and then counterclockwise, you're going to zoom out. So that's just a few different controls that you can use there as well. So I hope that was helpful. I hope it's simple. Obviously, if you have any questions, and if you need any practice, I'm saying if you need any practice with any of this, the best time to practice is going to be during Sunday school or Wednesday night. So if you don't typically able to make it to Sunday school, maybe you can try to make a few of them so you can get some more training on this as well. Next, I'm going to kind of show you how everything works together, kind of do a mock service, if you will, and kind of explain everything that I'm doing as I'm doing it. So I hope that will be helpful for you. All right, guys, here we are. We have a mock trial service coming up here for you. There is 55 seconds left. I'm obviously not going to use the whole time there, but I did just want to explain how all of these different components work together. That way you can see all of them in action and be able to hopefully apply some of the different concepts I was giving you throughout all the other different videos I was showing you through. So I'm going to go ahead and go here, and so let's say pastor is about to walk up to the pulpit, and so I'm going to put this camera up, and so he's walking up to the pulpit, and just remember that I showed you the console here, and how the green lights are the ones that are in the sub source, and the red ones are in the one that's program. So pastor's walking up. I'm going to go ahead and select camera 2 in my preview, and then as he comes into frame, I'm going to go ahead and transition to 2. And the way I did that was by pushing the auto transition button on the switcher itself. So this is where pastor comes up and he does his announcements and welcomes everybody. And then, okay, so now he's got the verse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I can do two things. I can either put the verse up full screen, which right now is a black screen, but I can go and put that up for the verse. Or what I can do is I can go ahead and turn on picture-in-a-picture. And if y'all remember those little buttons up in the top part of the switcher, you turn that on, and that's how you do the picture-in-a-picture for that as well. And then, so pastor's gone through the verse, and then he's about to pray, and then as he prays, I'll just stay on this shot. And then once he finishes, while he's praying, I'm actually going to go ahead and set up my next shot. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go ahead and come here on the switcher itself, on the controller, and I'm going to select camera 2, and I'm going to select preset 4, and that's going to take me over to Peter. And then so right as pastor says amen, I can go ahead and transition right into Peter. And then there's he's going to come up and do his little introduction to the hymns we're going to be singing. And then as soon as he finishes and we start, let's go ahead and rise and sing together. We can go ahead and put up picture-in-picture again, or we can go to full screen. We're going to use full screen sparingly because when you're at home, you don't want to be just seeing the screen the whole time. You're not going to be seeing the lyrics the whole time. We have these cameras. We have nice cameras. We should use them to get good shots. That way we can kind of include everybody at home. Because if we just have PowerPoint up there the whole time, or the Proclaim slides up there the whole time, people really can't see the joy on those that are singing on stage, the emotions, and actually be able to feel like they're involved in the service. It kind of just seems like they're going through a PowerPoint. So we're going to try to use picture-in-a-picture as much as we can. With that, we don't want to take picture-in-a-picture off all the time. We'd like to have it up there as much as possible, especially during the singing. We want to have it up there the whole time, unless you're full screen on the lyrics for a little bit. And then for pastor's sermon, we're also going to have picture-in-a-picture up there the whole time, unless we're with full screen as well. So just a few things to note there as you're looking ahead onto the sermon, kind of feeling out what there's going to be long verses. If you look on the manuscript, you see a very long verse. The text is going to be very small. Then what you can do is you can go ahead and go full screen on the verse, and then come back to pastor as well. Okay, so back to it. So we're here on Peter, and what I'm going to do here as well is I'm going to select camera 3, and I'm going to put that. I'm going to put that on preset 5, and that's going to take me to a wide shot of the ensemble and the piano. And I can also do picture-in-a-picture there. It fits well. It looks good. We can probably even see some of the congregation in the service as well while they're singing. Okay, and then so that's the first song. So we're always gonna be looking ahead and making sure whichever camera we select on the switcher itself or on the controller, that we're confident in the selection that we're making. So I'm going to come down here to the switcher real quick. Sorry, not to the switcher, to the controller. And I'm going to select the the camera that I'm going to need. So for this camera, for this particular shot that I'm wanting to get, I'm going to go ahead and select camera 3, and then I'm going to select 2, okay, and now I'm back up there on the pulpit, and then I'm going to come over here and select transition. Let me do that for you real quick. I'm going to select transition on the switcher, and it's going to take me back up to the pulpit. And that's what you're going to use for, pastor up there doing the verse, and then also for preaching. I don't want to make this too long, so the last part I'm going to talk about is the actual sermon itself. When you're setting up your shots for the sermon, what you would like to do is you want to make sure that every camera that you have is going to be a different shot. So for camera 3, for instance, maybe I have that on a close-up, preset 1. Camera 2, maybe I have that on preset 2. It's a little more of a mid-shot, little wider. And then camera 1, I have that on preset 3, and it's a lot wider. That way you have a different variety in shots that we can use throughout the sermon, and not just keep the same shots or the same distance away from pastor the whole time, because it's easy to let the viewer's mind wander because they don't have the atmosphere of everybody else around them to be able to pay attention. They just have that screen in front of them. So for us to make it as inviting and eye-catching as possible, doing those switches will kind of keep the mind engaged as we move forward. And so here we have the different cameras that we can use for that. So make sure when you set up your cameras on the preset, you have a close-up, a mid-shot, and then a head-to-toe or a wide shot. And that will kind of keep everybody on the same page. I hope that was helpful. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mr. Leach or myself. Also, John Miniger, he knows a lot about the switcher as well, and he'd be able to give you some tips on how to do it. As I said before, coming in either for Sunday school or for Wednesday night and getting practice, that will also help, because it's one thing to watch a video and know how to do it, but actually getting your hands on it is going to be another step as well. So take the initiative and come in and help. That will get you acclimated to this new setup quickly, and it'll be very easy to work with. But again, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll have a great day.